Welcome back to SwitchCorner. My name is Alex and today we're taking a look at the Hong Kong Massacre on the Nintendo Switch. This one, think Hotline Miami meets John Woo, but can it do enough to separate itself out as something unique while earning a spot in your library? Well, that very much is what I'm here to find out, so hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family and let's get started. It's a story and there's not a huge amount to it, honestly. It's told in like this Quentin Tarantino-esque way. It's essentially an interview with a detective and then the occasional bar scene where dialogue very much leads the way. You know, it's setting up that next set piece where you get to run and gun. Here though, you'll be a former police detective out for revenge after his partner is murdered, taking you from location to location as you're working your way basically up the food chain to the one in charge. It does enough and it captures that kind of like pulpy sensibilities it was clearly striving for. Good stuff, if minimal, to tell that classic revenge tale. So gameplay and what we have here is a top-down shooter very much in the vein of Hotline Miami. Think tons of enemies, one-hit kills and twin-stick controls, and you get the idea. It's all extremely simplistic in how it handles, clearly so you can just pick it up immediately, but it's designed to capture the intensity of overwhelming odds. The preset controls, they work like this: left stick to move, right stick to aim, right trigger to shoot, the R button to dodge, and then the left trigger. It gives you a slowdown capability which is linked to a stamina-like system. Basically, you can't just go like crazy and use it as much as you please. The final thing, you can pick up weapons with the B button as well. This is run and gun only, so don't come in here like expecting any form of melee. You will not find it. My favorite thing about these controls though, completely customizable from the menus along with that aim sensitivity. I'd suggest do a few like early missions and I'd say start to tweak things. Like for me, I actually increased the aim speed. Now I will warn you now as we jump into this, as is traditional with the genre, this is not an easy game, so if you do get frustrated easily, I would suggest you keep far away. It's not only one hit kills, you know, against your enemies, but you too, so you're going to be seeing that death screen a whole lot, and at points, yeah, seriously on repeat. Each location though, no matter how it's dressed up, is simple in goal. Move from room to room and just kill absolutely everyone while dodging and flinging your way through the air, because once activated you are invincible to any bullets as they fly right past you. Mastering this single mechanic will be the difference between life and death, and no doubt between success and failure. While the levels, they don't deviate too much either from the very beginning to the end, you can expect in location at least everything from office blocks to rooftops to casinos. My approach was typically this: go all out, try to understand the map, look for opportunities, die, and then begin to create my strategy. These worlds are not really filled with anything you can use as such, but you will find plenty of cover to leverage and then doors and windows to shoot and dive your way through. And I've got to say, that never got old and it is super satisfying, you know, double pistols in hand jumping through a window. Where Hong Kong Massacre tries to change things up though, it's with the weapons. At the opening of each level you actually get a selection of 4 to choose from: dual pistols, shotgun, Uzi and machine gun. I pretty much stuck to pistols personally, but you can upgrade each as well with a selection of different options and perks. I think maybe you'll get faster movement speed or unlimited ammo, which was my favorite. You see, the reason for that, starting the game, ammo is not unlimited. You'll start with a varying count dependent on your weapon of choice, and it's kind of like John Wick style. Think basically you kill an enemy, you'll need to pick up their weapons. These weapons then, they are unlocked and upgraded with what are called stars. These are linked to challenges within each level, and these definitely go a long way to driving replayability. So think things like beat the level in a certain amount of time, or maybe never miss a shot, an extremely challenging prospect. It's a fun one though for you completionists out there. At this point then, it's worth knowing as well, dependent on your skill level, I'd say you could wrap things up here in around 3 hours with a few deaths along the way. Took me personally about 4. Now to give you then another reason to go back though, it does include multiple difficulties as well. So problems, and I do have a few. First, the game features boss moments which are pretty lackluster and repetitive. They break the mold of one-hit kills, and it just feels a little out of place, and every single boss encounter is near identical. It goes like this: you and the boss are in two corridors parallel, you shoot through windows at each other. There may be the occasional enemy in your way. Finally, you'll enter a big room where you just kick slow motion in and absolutely crush them. It's an okay idea, but honestly unnecessary. Then as the game progresses, the levels, they get a little too overly ambitious in design. Some rooms are annoyingly large, meaning enemies will shoot before they're even on screen. They're signified by a small red arrow, but doesn't really help, honestly. They either need to make the room smaller or maybe pull the camera back just a little bit more. Also then, why they decided to have jump moments like the rooftops where you need to use dodge to jump gaps is beyond me. The dodge animation never really matters outside of these points. All that matters is you're invincible, but in these moments, if you fall short or maybe the wrong animation kicks in, you either just fail and slide against the wall, or of course jump and fall to your death. No one wants that type of gameplay in a game like this, especially when I can't see what I'm jumping into. So often I would land, go through a window, and there'd be a gun squarely in my face. Finally then, no matter the difficulty you choose, enemy AI is just dialed way too high. They're always aware of my location, because I swear before I even enter the room, they seem to be like Olympic shooters and ready for me. The final issue, super minor, but maybe 2 or 3 times I will say the slightest amount of drop in frame rate, but nothing major. I just wanted to put that out there because you'll probably see it in the video in the background. Overall, gameplay wise, I've had a good time with the Hong Kong Massacre. When things get going, it captures that acrobatic combat of the movies that I went in expecting and wanting, and then it even throws some serious challenge your way. Kudos to the developers for experimenting too. I like the weapon system, the upgrades, the perk idea, but I think in other areas less is honestly more in this case, and they could cut a few things away, or maybe just pulling that camera back a tiny bit more. So graphically speaking, it's embracing the idea of that pulpy, almost like noir style, and I really did like it. While it can get a little repetitive towards the end game, just thanks to mainly the colour scheme, black, brown and grey, the game, it still managed to always have something just to add a little, extra flavour to things. The enemies, they do repeat, but you go through them so quickly, it's hard to notice, and the interface on screen, minimalistic, but it gives you everything you need. At times on watching the footage back, I will say the animations can get a little bit weird with the dodge mechanic, because you're aiming at the same time and obviously the body's moving in a weird way. Makes sense, but honestly when you're playing the game, I never noticed at least once, so I can't imagine you will either. You're so intensely focused on where that next enemy is, you're just kind of dodging to make sure you're invincible while you hold your breath. Cutscenes then, and yeah, pretty much static, putting the focus on story, and that absolutely worked for me. It feels like a mature way to complement the run and gun action. There is even then the occasional 3D cutscene, but these mainly focus on our protagonist's emotional reaction. These can be at times a little pixelated, same with the main menu in fact. But yeah, overall decent stuff. I especially like the bullet animations, and it looked great handheld and docked. So audio and not a whole lot, some action style music's accompanied by some more moodier pieces that set a tone, but honestly pretty forgettable stuff. Then we get of course gunshots and some minor environmental effects. The only thing missing really for me that I think would have really nailed kind of the themes here, some voice acting to reinforce the dialogue. So the final verdict, and Hong Kong Massacre has taken the Hotline Miami formula and tried to evolve it into its, own thing, an attempt to stand out, which at moments it absolutely works. Like the weapon system, the upgradable features, really did like it, but it also causes some issues where I think they've been a little over ambitious. Think boss moments, yeah, they're inoffensive, but also you could skip them entirely. They just forget the fun. Leaping from rooftop to rooftop was an absolute pain in the ass, and the camera's a little bit too close. All that said, I enjoyed my time here. I think fans of games like Hotline will enjoy it, and at a relatively budget price point, I think you can do a lot worse. So today, a good 7 out of 10 from me, and I hope they come back now with a sequel and just fine tune and evolve what they've started here. Will you be adding this one to the collection though, or is this one a title you'll be passing up for the time being? With that, a shout out then to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.